everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Sadhana, nice of you to drop by. So I recently hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel and I honestly don't know where to begin, but I think I'll start by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. It's absolutely ridiculous that this many people have subscribed and are watching my videos. It's so why? It's so deranged. Why would you subscribe to me? Honestly, thank you so much to everyone who is subscribed. I am really sorry that I am so inconsistent, but I really do appreciate your patience and support despite all of this. I won't lie, I've been in a bit of a slump the first part of this term. I don't know why. You normally think if someone had to reset, they'd be a bit more, energized and ready to go, but for some reason I've kind of had a little hit in my work ethic. But all of a sudden today, as if magic, a pang of anxiety hit me and I was like, you know what, it's time to wake up.
At some point you have to wake up. I don't know what to tell you. You really have to wake up.
So here I am today. I've decided this is the day I get my act together and actually start doing the work, and hopefully we can prevent what happened last year happening again. But anyway, questions. I won't lie, when I did initially ask you guys to send in questions, I didn't think anyone would. I thought it was just gonna be a bunch of questions from my friends. I was so shocked to see how many of you actually asked me questions, and it's so amazing that you guys did. So I had a bunch of questions about Imperial that I thought I'd start off with. What was the hardest bit about getting into Imperial? Personally, I think the hardest bit of the whole entry process was the entrance exams. The whole process of getting into Imperial was kind of like running through a track with loads of hurdles on it until you reach the finish line. And I think the first main hurdle was the BMAT, because you need to get above a certain grade to be even considered for an interview. So I think revising for that was quite hard. I did make it through the BMAT, and I'd say after that it was a little less stressful getting through the other hurdles, which were kind of like the personal statements, interviews, etc. I have my interview in February. Do you have any tips? So I'd say my biggest tip, and I know this is probably the most useless tip you got from anyone, but be yourself, because as I said, it is kind of like running through a track with loads of hurdles, and once you pass the BMAT hurdle, you kind of pass the hardest bit of the race, and the interview is just kind of to get to know you a bit more. At this stage, the university probably really like the idea of you on paper, so they kind of just want to see what you're like in person. As I said, it's a huge thing that you've made it this far, so congratulations. And I say be really confident, but don't be afraid of being nervous, because it shows that you care. Was it easy to make friends at Imperial?
I don't need friends, they disappoint me.
I think yes, it was. And this was actually quite surprising for me, because I was really scared of being socially awkward and kind of saying the wrong things or making a fool of myself. Most people at Imperial, especially in the first year, are so eager, and it's actually quite nice to see. And I think I made most of my friends in halls. And it's quite easy to make friends at Imperial, especially with medicine, because you're constantly interacting with people in your course. It's quite an interactive course. It's quite a collaborative course as well. And that brings me on to the next question I got. What is the best small group at Imperial? Well, I have to say, and I'm not biased here, but I think it's H6A. So at Imperial, it's quite like a integrated course. So it's kind of a mixture of lectures and also small group teaching and tutorials. So when we're in lectures, we're with all 300 odd students in a lecture theatre. But when we're in a tutorial, we're kind of in groups of 5 to 6. These are the groups that we're normally in for placements and tutorials. And you're with these small groups for the first 3 years of medical school. And the people in my small group are actually the smartest people I've ever met. They're actual geniuses. Don't let it go to your head. Honestly, we work so well as a team, and I think a huge part of medicine is about teamwork.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
My phone died. That is so sad. I won't lie, I recorded this last week as well, and I thought I pressed record, and it was on my back camera. This is on my front camera now. I could have sworn I pressed record, and I went and sat down and filmed the whole video. I turned around to look at the footage later, and I never pressed record. And I won't lie, I kind of lost the will to live after that. But I mean, this is fine. The phone is dying, but hopefully this doesn't die soon. And my laptop's also dying. Why isn't everything dying around me? I'm going to be a great doctor, I promise you.
We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Why did you choose Imperial, and what do you like about it now that you're in it? When I was applying to medical school, I picked Imperial because of the location. I really like the fact that it was in London. I think London has a lot of exposure that you don't necessarily get in other places. So I really like the fact that it was in London. I really like the hospitals that Imperial had. I like the reputation of Imperial. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't pick it partly because of its reputation. And I remember specifically on the open day, I think it was in year 12, I remember going into one of the lecture theatres in the South Ken campus, and there was this girl who, now she's probably a doctor, but she was a final year medical student at the time, and she was giving a speech or kind of talking about the first time she delivered a baby and her experience in medical school. I don't know, the way that she was kind of talking about it seemed so inspiring. This is going to sound really cheesy, but I don't know why, but I felt like I belonged. There was kind of like an energy around coming into South Kensington and sitting in that lecture theatre. I could kind of visualise myself sitting there in the future. So that was a huge reason why I really wanted to come to Imperial and why I really liked it. I mean, when you're applying, you build up so many fantasies about what you think it might be like, and the reality is really different from it, but I wouldn't say it's a negative different. I think it's just kind of different. It is it is a lot of hard work and it is a lot of perseverance and it takes a lot of resilience to get through, but I think it's definitely worth it. I think the teaching at this university is really good. I really enjoy the way that they do teach us, even though my family know that I do complain about it a lot, but I think it's just because of the volume of the workload. But I think it is a really interesting course and I'm really enjoying this year more than I did last year. That's kind of what I like about it. And then Abby asked, if I get into Imperial, can I be friends with you? Well, Abby, you're already at Imperial and you're already my friend, but since you asked that question, no. What's the hardest part about med school? One of the hardest parts for me is dealing with imposter syndrome. I won't lie, I've been in a bit of a slump for the past term. No matter how much I try to fight the imposter syndrome, it always keeps coming back. But I think it's an ongoing battle and it's just kind of having the strength to keep going despite thinking that you're lesser than, which you definitely shouldn't be thinking. And I definitely shouldn't be thinking that, and I hold my hand up and I say I still do struggle with that a lot. But I think it's just constantly keeping myself motivated despite feeling that I'm not smart enough to be here. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the hardest part for me. But I think it's always a journey about growth, right? And finding that motivation isn't actually that hard. Like after going on placement, I remembered kind of why I'm doing all of this. And I think when everything is all over the place, it can get a bit cloudy and a bit difficult to see. It's kind of like wearing glasses. Once you wear glasses, you can see everything clearly. And I think just kind of finding that clarity helps. What specialty do you want to go into? Well, obviously, I am still very early in my medical career. I'm still a medical student, but I have thought about loads of specialties, and I recently had a placement in GI surgery and I really did like the idea of surgery. I managed to scrub in on a surgery, which was very exciting and very kind of the consultant to let me do. And I think I am thinking about surgery, but obviously like I need to consider the work-life balance of it all. I think that's definitely something that I want to look into. As I said before, I recently went to an Obs and Gynae conference and it was very inspiring. It was kind of centered around surgical skills, and also we had a talk about abortion and the ethics and legality of abortion, and they also had like loads of surgical workshops where we could play around with like the laparoscopic simulators. We also learned how to put an epidural in, and that was also something that kind of inspired me and kind of gave me a kick up the backside to keep going. And I think that's something that I'm going to try and do a bit more this term. I'm going to try and go to a few more conferences and try and get more exposure into the actual medical field. Favourite memory from first year? I think first year had a lot of ups and downs, but I must emphasise a lot of ups. And one of my favourite memories from first year was one of the karaoke nights that we had in halls, and my friend Mina and I decided to do some arts and crafts, and we made these t-shirts modelled after Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb, and it said "Hi Hater" at the front and "Bye Hater" at the back, and I think they're very iconic. Another memory that I really enjoyed was when my friends and I were coming back from placement. Everything that could have gone wrong that day went wrong. We call that day the London Bridge Day because we were stranded in London Bridge Station for like a good 2 hours because we missed a tutorial and we missed our train as well. But it was a really fun day, and even though like loads of things went wrong, I still like look back at that day as like a really fun memory. And then I got a question from Christina. Shout out to Christina if you're watching this. Christina also has a YouTube channel that's like honestly one of my favourite med school YouTuber channels. Like she's so comforting to watch and she's so real. Like honestly, I love her channel. So if you're not subscribed, go subscribe to her channel because it's like one of the best channels I've seen. And she asked, any exciting plans for 2023? I honestly don't know yet. I hope to travel a bit more this year. I went to Paris last year to see Roland Garros and I hope I can go again this year to see it. But yeah, I really want to travel more. And I also want to pass second year the first time. That's one of my plans. My plan is to pass second year. The next question is a very important question. Who was the best rat in Halloween? For Halloween, my friends and I dressed up as the rats from the very critically acclaimed cinematic masterpiece that is Barbie and the Island Princess. Blink and you'll miss the rats, but these rats are an iconic part of the plot. They really fuel the plot and they drive the story of Barbie and the Island Princess.
Some people think that we're vermin, but we're just misunderstood.
And we dressed up as those rats. Personally, I don't know who the best rat is. I think all three of us dressed up really accurate to the costume. I will say I'll probably get a point deducted for the fact that I forgot to buy rat ears, so I put my hair up in like space buns. Other than that, I think we're all quite close to the reference. I'll put the pictures here and I'll put the reference image here, and you guys tell me who the best rat was down below in the comments. Fave song. Well, my favourite song kind of changes depending on what mood I am, and I think my music taste is quite acquired, let's say. Like me, it's a bit all over the place. It's like a gradient from like Iron Maiden and Maneskin to like Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole, and in the middle we have like the Beatles and like songs like The Ballad of Bilbo Baggins. I'd say no matter what mood I'm in, my go-to song would definitely be Daydream Believer by the Monkees. I went to a charity shop the other day and I found like the record for like just the single of Daydream Believer, and I was like over the moon, and it was like 50p for like this record, and I was like, oh my god, what a bargain. But at the moment I've been listening to Vincent by Don McLean on loop. I don't know what it is about that song, but like it's a really good song. And then the last question comes from Mina. She said, would you rather never slay again or slay so hard that that slay loses all meaning? And that's a very good question. And I would say I would slay so hard that that slay loses all meaning, because at least I'm slaying opposed to never slaying again, because like what a life that would be. But yeah, those are all the questions that I had. Honestly, thank you so much to everyone who did submit a question. It really means a lot that you guys did. I didn't think anyone would. And I'm so sorry that this is uploaded so late, and I really appreciate you guys for being so patient and understanding. I hope that I can upload a bit more this term and film a bit more. I have exams coming up soon, but maybe I could film some study with me's or some vlogs if that's what you guys want. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and please... Ooh.
Jump scare.